Hi, this is Anne McAllister here. I'm coming to you from very cold Northern Ireland. My presentation today is something that's very close to my heart: making excuses or getting results. This is a lesson that I learned about 3 years ago on the personal development journey, and it's one that I use often. And I just thought I'd share it with you. So, who's Anne? That's me. Particularly flattering photograph of me, I've got to say. I don't always look like that. My name's Anne. I live in Northern Ireland, as I said. I'm a social worker by trade. I was a social worker for nearly 20 years and left 3 years ago to retrain to be a coach and set up my own business. And I'm just going to throw this in here. That's Miss Miley, my beautiful granddaughter. And I really just threw that in there because she's so absolutely cute. So that's just a little bit about me. So what I want to talk about today is the game of life. There's two ways really that you can live the game of life. The first one is reasons, and the second one is results. So when you're living in reasons, what does that look like? Well, it kind of looks like life is happening to you. You don't have much control over it in your own mind, you think, and you're kind of living in victim mentality. And when you're there, really what you're doing a lot of the time is creating reasons why you are where you are and why you're not getting the results that you want. Another word for that could be excuses, making excuses. So if you're not getting what it is that you want in life, whether that is a successful business, a great relationship, the kind of levels of health that you desire, it's very easy to point outward and blame other people. So could be the government's fault, could be the economy's fault. You could be blaming your partner or your mother-in-law or all sorts of things. And there's no doubt that it's a very natural human quality to do that. But the reality is, if you do that all the time, then you're never going to get the results that you want. The other way to live your life is the results side of the equation. I would consider this to be above the line thinking. And in this position, really you're accepting responsibility for creating or not creating your own results. When you're here, life doesn't happen to you and you're a passive bystander. Life happens by you because you're making it happen. And in this side of the equation, you ditch the excuses and you just go out and find a way to make things happen. And I can hear you saying, sounds very interesting, Anne, but how do you actually do that? And in reality, there are a number of ways, but I'm just going to give you one very, very practical way today, which will really help you when you find yourself stuck in reasons. And that's, don't get me wrong, there's times it's nice to wallow, but when you've wallowed for a little while, it's time to get out of there and get into the results side of the equation. So what's the wee easy tip that I'm going to share with you? Ask better questions. When you're in the reasons side of the equation, you're very definitely not asking yourself good quality questions. You're probably stuck in the why can't I make this work? Why can't I become successful? What is it about me that means that I can't do whatever it is that I want to do? All of those kind of why questions that point back to some kind of inadequacy or something that you believe that you don't have at that point in time. There's always a kind of implied judgment with a why question as well. So they're not usually very productive questions to ask. So if you find yourself stuck in the I can't do it kind of thinking, then a much better way to frame it is to ask yourself a better question. And a great question is always, how can I do it? So let's just take the example of, I don't know, building an online marketing business, which is why we're all here really. You could be saying to yourself, as I was today over something technical, I was in that mindset of, do you know what, I just can't do this. I just can't. I've tried it and I just can't. And I stayed there for a couple of minutes and then I thought, you know what, you can say that to yourself all day long, but if you keep on saying that to yourself, you're never ever going to make it happen. So I stopped and I did what I teach other people to do. I thought to myself, how can I learn to do this? In fact, how can I learn to do this easily and effortlessly? And, you know, I got some answers. One of them was, why don't I just call up a friend who I'm pretty sure knows how to do this and get them to talk me through it on the phone? If that doesn't work, I can make an appointment to see them and they can show me in real time. Or I could go on the internet and search for some kind of a training video that would show me how to do it. And I got more and more resourceful as my thinking went on. In the end, actually, I just phoned a friend. They talked me through it on the phone and I was able to make it happen. So go back to your own situation, whatever it is you're trying to create in your life. How can I make this happen? Sometimes it's good to add things like easily or effortlessly or while spending no money or whatever it is that you want to create. And there's one really, really good way to make things happen. And that is, no matter what it is that you're trying to create in your life, as I've said, it could be a business, it could be a great relationship, it could be fantastic health. You could be guaranteed that there's somebody who's done that before you. There's somebody out there who's got the result that you want to get, or they're very close to it. So all you have to do is find them. Success leaves clues. There is no doubt about it. So find an industry leader. Find somebody that you look up to, who's getting results, and make them your mentor. You don't have to know them. You don't have to fly to America or Australia or anywhere else in the world to meet up with them. Successful people naturally leave clues. Successful people will have written a book. Look at Richard Branson, look at Bill Gates, look at Donald Trump. All of those successful people have written books describing their experiences. Or you'll find interviews where they've been interviewed about how they built whatever it was that they built. So find them and study them. Work out what it is that they do. Work out what kind of a mindset they have. Work out what skills they have. Work out what their business model is like. So you just find them and do what they do, or do what they've done. You need to add your own unique little stamp on it. I mean, at the end of the day, that is your unique selling feature. There is only one of you. So you put your own unique stamp on it, whatever it is, but just model success. If it's an internet marketing business, there are so many free resources out there, it's not funny. I personally am particularly fond of David Wood. I think David Wood is there's just something so unique about David Wood, I think. And I mean, on his site, he has this fantastic free resource, an 8-hour video training, which will take you through from A to Z in terms of how you set up an internet marketing business. That's just one example of what you can do. So I'm going to leave you with a final question. I invite you to think about it. Are you currently making excuses, or are you getting results? And if you find that you're not getting results, you're probably more than likely just living in excuses. And if that's the case, why don't you flip the coin, change your mindset, go out there, ask yourself better questions, and find somebody who's done it before you and model them. What is it they're doing to get the success? And then you go and do it with your own unique stamp. Thanks for listening. I hope you find it useful. This is Anne McAllister from Northern Ireland.